Once upon a time, in a quiet field filled with wild flowers and buzzing bees, there lived a gentle and humble mouse named Charlie. Charlie was a country mouse, and he loved his peaceful life in the countryside. His days were spent nibbling on grains, berries, and the occasional crumb of cheese he found near the farmer's kitchen. At night, he would rest in his cozy burrow, listening to the soft sounds of the crickets and wind in the trees. One day, Charlie received a visit from his cousin Max, a town mouse who lived in a big city filled with lights, car horns, and tall buildings. Max had shiny fur, a polished accent, and wore a tiny scarf around his neck. He looked around Charlie's little burrow and wrinkled his nose. "This is how you live?" Max said in disbelief. "Dry oats and wild berries, sleeping in a dirt hole. Cousin, you must come to the city with me. Life in the town is filled with comfort, excitement, and most importantly, feasts." Charlie was curious. He had never been to the city, and Max's stories sounded thrilling. "All right," said Charlie with a smile. "I'll visit your town for a few days." The very next morning, the two mice set off for the city. After a long journey, they reached Max's home, a hole behind a grand wall in a rich man's kitchen. The smells in the air made Charlie's nose twitch with delight. There was cheese, bread, butter, fruits, and even cake. Max proudly led Charlie to a table loaded with leftovers from a fancy party. "See?" Max grinned. "This is what I eat every night." Charlie's eyes sparkled. He climbed onto the table and took a nibble of creamy cheese. It was the most delicious thing he had ever tasted. As he reached for a slice of pie, boom! The kitchen door burst open. A huge cat leapt into the room. The two mice froze. Max yelled, "Run!" and they dashed across the table, crumbs flying behind them. They barely escaped through a small hole in the wall, their tiny hearts thudding in their chests. Charlie was trembling. That was terrifying. Max tried to laugh it off. "Oh, you get used to it. The cat only comes in sometimes. And we must always watch out for mouse traps, and the humans aren't very friendly either." Charlie frowned. He thought of his quiet burrow, his safe, warm nest under the tree, and the fresh air of the countryside. "Thank you for your hospitality, Max," Charlie said gently. "But I think I'd rather eat plain food in peace than eat fancy food in fear." The next morning, Charlie returned to the country, glad to be home. He happily nibbled on his simple meal and felt grateful for his quiet and safe life. Moral of the story: it is better to live a simple and safe life than a luxurious one filled with danger and fear. Peace and contentment are far more valuable than riches and risk.